What's up, Jaguars? Welcome to Tuesday. I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about the topics for our essay and then talk a little bit about brainstorming. So, what we have here is the sheet that has the topics for the essay right here. Explain what D-Day is and how it relates to Act 2, Scene 3. Number 2, relate and compare your experience during our current pandemic with Anne's isolation in Act 2 during her hiding. And number 3, pretend you are Anne Frank and you are forced to hide in someone else's home for 2 years without ever leaving for fear of being caught. So those are our 3 topics. So if we are going to start thinking about writing about that, we have to start with really basic ideas, brainstorming basically. We have to what we call brainstorm. So what that basically means is we are going to write down or type here anything that we can think of about that topic and how it relates to what we want to talk about. Now, for example, D-Day. Just for example here, I'm going to write June 6th, 1944. That is when D-Day was. And then I'm going to write that it was landing on the beaches of Normandy in France. Let's see, Anne Frank and family are still in hiding, and this makes them hopeful. Just some quick thoughts about how can I relate what I'm thinking about to the topic here at hand. So we know that D-Day is the landing on the beaches of Normandy in France by the Allies, which is what they called the U.S., the UK, etc. And it was a turning point in the war. We know that about D-Day. That's just some quick thinking. Now, another thing you guys could always do is something very simple. D-Day. Boom. What is D-Day? This is what it is. So you can, I'm not going to sit here and say you can't Google things to find stuff out. What I really don't want you doing is copying and pasting. That is a no-no. That is called plagiarism, and it is not acceptable at Navarre. So you need to make sure that if you like something, you put it in your own words. Very, very important. Now, what about the second topic? Let's go down here. I'm going to delete this. Let's go down here and talk about COVID. Well, we know that COVID has kept us in, I don't know what you could say, in a different place since March. So that's like 10 months. There have been restrictions on where we can go. No school as it was before. Wearing a mask. No parks. You can't go to parks and stuff. So that's kind of what you're thinking about. And then relate it to Anne Frank. Well, Anne Frank was in hiding, had restrictions, and couldn't go anywhere. Not, again, as I say lots of times, it's not about, it's not a direct connection. There are similarities. Certainly hiding in the middle of a world war is a little bit different than having to do school at home. So again, it's not an equitable thing. It's not the same thing, but it is something that we can relate to. Let me correct this real quick here. And then for the historical fiction, so what emotions would you feel? And you can just go down and list them. Anger, sadness, regret, fear was a good one. Hate for the enemy, things like that. So you really need to, for the historical fiction, you focus on the emotions that you're feeling, and then you can create your setting for where and when. So you could put yourself in Anne Frank's house, or you could do something different. That's a real quick tip on brainstorming. Make sure you come to the Zoom meeting where I will go through this in greater detail. Thanks.